So that you'll be first for question 9, which is about states' rights. Many in Eastern Connecticut feel that the federal government is abusing their rights under the 10th Amendment, which reserves all of the rights of the states and the people. When you go to Washington, what steps would you take to protect the rights of the states and the people?
First of all, if we go back and we look at the Constitution or the Federalist Papers, Madison number 45, some of these types of documents, and we look at the intent of the Founding Fathers, our Constitution was set up so that we could coordinate between the states and the federal government. It was not set up for one to take over the other, and I think that's an important point to remember. There were duties and responsibilities set aside for the state and those for the federal government. The federal government was what the Founding Fathers really worried about, that they would take too much power away from the people, that it would be too distant from the people. And they set up the Constitution to strictly define what was allowed at the federal level and to limit what could be done. At the state level, it was left more vague and more numerous. I think we need to go back to the Founding Fathers, look at the intent of the Constitution, get back to those basics, and we will be doing just fine. Right now, too much power has gone to Washington. We need to reconsider how we run our government. If we get back to the basics and start again, we will do it just fine. This is a great nation, and all of our best days, I firmly believe, are ahead of us. We just need to stand up and to make a difference.
Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution defines the role of the federal government. The federal government doesn't seem to care. It's doing things that are not enumerated in the Constitution. Yes, the 10th Amendment says that all powers that are not specifically enumerated for the federal government go to the states and the people. And what that did was it set up a tripartite system where the people were on top, and the states and the federal government were playing supporting roles, vital but supporting roles. What we've got now is a system on its head, with the federal government on top, the states in the middle, and the people on the bottom. What we need to do in Washington is look at every single bill and determine whether or not Congress has the power to pass that bill and to enact the legislation that is trying to impose on the people of this country. If the federal government doesn't have that power, it shouldn't pass that bill. I'm sure you've all heard a lot of congressmen recently saying that they don't care what the Constitution says. If it's unconstitutional, they'll let the Supreme Court deal with it. Well, no. Every branch of government is supposed to decide whether or not what they're doing is constitutional. And if I go to Congress, I will certainly not vote for bills that I believe are unconstitutional.
I'll just make this one real quick. I wouldn't even go so far as to sponsor a bill, if they allow a freshman to do that, that would actually say that every time Congress votes on a bill, there has to be a paragraph in it that states where does it apply that the Constitution permits the Congress to do this. This is what I'm talking about.
Final question of this section of the debate. It'll go to Doug first. It's on education. Under this administration, billions have been spent to bail out the state's educational systems, further kicking the can down the road, if you will. How do you propose funding our education system, and what other changes to it would you make?
I don't intend to fund it. The federal government doesn't belong in the educational system. Money goes to departments and to administrators that don't do anything to educate our children. What we need is more money staying here. Instead of sending our tax money to Washington to be chewed up in departments and administrations, we need to keep it here. We need to send more of our money to our local municipalities so they can spend it on the schools, rather than have it go to Washington first and then have us beg Washington to give us some of our money back. We need to keep our money here and not go to Washington. Thank you.
I'll go a step further. I think we need to eliminate or at least downsize immediately the Department of Education. We, the people, should be telling our local school boards how we want our children to be taught. That's our right. We do not need the federal government designing history programs that rewrite American history. This is wrong. Washington needs to stay out of our educational systems and allow us to raise our children. They have no business in it. It was one of Ronald Reagan's biggest regrets, and I remember talking to him one time in Washington when I was there, that he could not get rid of the Department of Education. I will make a commitment to you that I will try and work hard to make sure that education remains a top priority in my campaign and when I get to D.C., but that I will try to return control to the localities.
Thank you so far to both candidates here. They've done a fantastic job thus far. We have some questions from you, but we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we're going to come back and we'll do that. And we'll ask the candidates back up here, and we'll do that in 10 minutes. You didn't hear that. There's more cards out there that you can actually write questions down and give them.
You want to write a question? Go write a question. How you like it so far?
I think it's good. Both candidates make some very good points, have their own strengths, their own areas that they stand strong with. I must say I am leaning towards Daria, and I appreciate her passion. I appreciate her experience that she'll bring to the table.
And what town are you from?
I'm from Haddam Neck, which is a part of Haddam.
Hi, I'm Alice Levine. I'm from Cheshire. We came up here to support Daria Novak. I've heard her speak, and I'm totally inspired by her. Hopefully, we can have people from the 2nd District come down to the 5th, which is Chris Murphy's district, to support us down there, and many of them have. So this is very inspirational. The debate is going very well. I'm very sorry that Ms. Peckinpah wasn't able to make it. Unfortunately, I would have loved to hear from her. I understand that she was a wonderful anchor, but I wanted to see if she could do more than read off the teleprompter again. And the debate should continue in a few minutes. I'd like to get back to her. But this is very inspirational. I'd love to see it in our district.